Hello. Today I want to talk about mental health and how the movement of thick mentality ties into it. Just bear with me. Listen. Um, so usually, for example, we are all going through things, and we all find ways to deal with them. Sometimes unhealthy, and sometimes healthy, especially now during the pandemic and with so many things going on. Everyone has a story, something, you know. At any one moment, someone is thinking of, let's say, three, four, five different things, and they are expected to keep moving, to keep it moving, because that's life. And especially us in the black community, as Africans, mental health. People just say it is what it is, and it's okay. You just continue, but that's not how it works, and that brings me back to my point. Thick mentality. Remember, we are talking about adversity, right? Making you stronger. Now, your mind. Let's say if you are stressed about something, right? Your mind is going to try to get you to find ways to escape it. And unfortunately, when you escape it, it's going to come back one time, like backlog, until it will manifest in another way, you know. So what you need to do is now put your mind, introduce adversity to your mind. This is what I mean. Face yourself. If you face yourself, for example, like, be alone with your thoughts. That's one of the most scary things that we can ever do. Actually, being alone with our thoughts. So usually we find ways of escape. Either it will be through your friends or through doing this, anything to make sure you're not alone with your thoughts. But my friend, that is the first step to dealing with all these things. At least that's what I've done. When I feel like everything seems to be crashing around me, I do breathing exercises. They help. But the thing is, I first shut everything out and just be alone with my thoughts. And then when you find time to be alone with your thoughts, there are many things that are going to seem trivial. And then you'll realize maybe you were stressing over something that you might not be able to control. And then there were three things that I found out about the book I was reading. How to, let's say, when you're in a rut, in a cycle, especially like your mental health, you constantly think about this thing and there's nothing you can really do about it, and just thinking about it it's making you stress even more, and it's a downward spiral. These three things are: be super authentic, be your authentic self, be willing to do uncomfortable work. That's like adversity, be willing to do the uncomfortable work. Like, for example, confront yourself, be accountable to yourself. Say, hey, Aaron, man, it's tough. Today you acted like this, and you have to be honest with yourself. And usually people do not want that, and that's why we end up getting into depression and and a cycle like that. So today, so we have the be yourself, a vigorous authenticity, be willing to do the uncomfortable work. I've forgotten the third one. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying is, expose your mind to adversity by confronting yourself. Because the worst thing is to now start lying to yourself. That's the trap. You don't want to do that. You know, there's a metaphor that I got from a book by Robert Greene. He talked about, of course, your mentality and your mind also has to do with your emotions. So that's another thing that really people, I think, are getting wrong. Emotions, right? Because emotions then affect your mood and affect how you deal with things. So he said this, Robert Greene said this, like if the metaphor of a horse and a horse rider, right? So let's say your rational brain is the rider, right? You make all the good decisions, blah blah blah, and then your emotions is the horse. So something about horses, they're very sensitive animals, right? They're very sensitive animals, and for you to be able to ride a horse, you're not supposed to either pull too hard or pull too soft. It needs to respect you, but it also needs to know that you respect it, if that makes sense. So let's say the rational mind is the rider, right? And let's say you pull hard on the horse will either kick you off or it will not move. And if you pull too softly, it will not respect you and it will go wherever it wants to go. That's the same way with our mind and our emotions. We have to keep a grip on them while also allowing yourself to hurt, allow yourself to grieve, to cry, but doesn't mean you should become a nuisance to people, like, oh, cry here, cry there, cry. Don't be too much and don't be too little. So unfortunately, in, let's say, our African community especially, we have been taught, or we've seen that you're either supposed to just keep it down and don't let it show at all, and that causes repression of these emotions. And then when that happens, eventually it comes out in another way that you did not want it to come out, and so what's the way forward then? What's the way forward? That's why I came up with, now, like, how do we involve thick mentality in this? You need to confront yourself. Confront yourself each and every day as much as possible. Call yourself out on your bull. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be, more autonomous, You're going to be like, hey, and the more you know thyself. And when you know thyself, you now start to treat others well. Like, you're not going to be maybe putting your insecurities on other people, because you confronted yourself, introduce adversity, and I'm not saying this is a cure for mental health issues. No, it's how I dealt with a certain part of my depression at some point. And of course, the other thing is talk to someone, find someone to talk to. That's another form of introducing adversity, because to talk to someone means you're making yourself vulnerable, and that's another way to introduce adversity, and that will make you even stronger. It might seem like you're being weak, but actually you're being very strong, to be able to talk to someone and say, hey man, I'm going through this. So I have there's a friend of mine in Dublin called Les. She also deals, she's a proponent of mental health awareness, and hopefully soon we'll do something together. But thick mentality in relation to mental health, let me tell you, actually, that's the biggest thing about it. Like, That is actually what it is. Mentality. It's how you're dealing with things in your mind. Confront yourself. And that will keep you from feeling sorry for yourself. You know, and then you'll just keep getting better and better and better. So remember, like, have alone time with your mind. Give yourself 10 minutes, just 10 every day. Do breathing exercises, things like that. And let me tell you, it makes a world of change, because there'll be something you thought, let's say you were in a situation that you thought impossible, but when you sit down and relax and say, hey, I'm alive. Hey, I don't have corona. Hey, this and this. Then somehow your mind, even the hormones in your brain, the neurochemicals, they will they'll no longer be an influx. It will not be too much. So now they'll calm down and you'll be able to make more rational decisions. Yeah. So that's it for this episode. We're going to keep going through this road, and we'll talk about more mental health stuff as well, because I think it's a really big issue in our community. Peace.